Folks, welcome to Talking Crit with myself, Eric Tenkar, my usual partner in crime, hanging out on the bottom part of your screen, Bad Mike. He doesn't even fucking hear us, so fuck him. Bad Mike is absorbed in his own world. And none other than Ben Burns, New Comic Games, multiple... Okay. Oh, now Mike's here. Multiple
this online Scrabble game isn't going to solve itself. No, I'm just kidding.
Multiple Three Castle Awards winner, Ben Burns, New Comic Games. So, Ben, thank you for joining us.
All right, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
We broke his streak this year because we're not giving an award this year. We ruined his. He had a three for streak.
This year doesn't count. So
yeah, we're just going to roll over next year. You'll be okay.
Right, that's why you're Bad Mike. I understand now.
Yeah, I actually delayed my next book a month so that I don't double up in 1 year.
Well, now you'll have. You could submit two things in a year. So you could submit your old one and your new Corsair, so you'll be fine. You'll have two submissions for next year.
Well, the pleasure there. I'm already going to win the next one. So now I'm looking forward to the
So for those who don't know, Ben does not like to lose. and he doesn't. And whether it be Chariots or Gladiator or what. And by the way, Ben, I want you to know something. This was not me, but I'm going to do this because Doug Ray's my pal. He said, we were just talking about you guys. Bring up to Ben how I beat him in the Gladiator or in the chariot race. I said, nah, I'm not gonna ruin this by doing that.
I'm not gonna bring that up. That was 3 years ago. That was old news.
He told me how, but it was one of those things where like 8 things had to go right for him to win. And damned if all 8 things did. Doug is so lucky in stupid things like that. Like somebody had to roll a 6, and then somebody else had to roll a 6. Well, first of all, Rob had to choose somebody's name out of the hat before somebody else, and then somebody had to roll a 6, and somebody else had to roll. I mean, it was crazy. So he beat you on that, and he said, boy, Ben got up at the table. His face was so red. He was so mad. I said, he does not like to lose. I said, he is a competitor. He plays to win.
I do play to win. I don't mess around. That's kind of why I actually like role playing games because you lose some of that competitive. Yeah. Oh, except for DM when you get the TPK, but that's the way.
So Ben was a guy. Oh. So our first convention, I don't know if Doug ordered these off eBay or what, but we found out that Doug had ordered some stuff on eBay, and all I remember is the great title of the adventure was Svart's Silent but Deadly. And so that was one of the adventures, and it I think there was like 3 or 4 adventures in the series. It was about an island. It was set on an island, I know, and he knows she lived in Arlington. He's like, oh, maybe this is a guy we get to come to our con. And so I don't think you were there the first year, but I think we got you to start showing up the second year, maybe. I can't remember, second or third year, we got you to start showing up.
So Doug called me before the first one and said, hey, can you come? And I already had something scheduled for the weekend of the con.
This is when we were digging the bottom of the barrel for guests our first year.
Yes.
I mean, we had Jason Braun. So, I mean, you were a step up from Jason. So, yeah, we were just like, who can we find to come to our con for free that we can be a special guest?
So, anyway, so Doug said, well, how about next year for the second one? And I was like, sure. And I forgot all about it. And then the next January rolls around. And he calls me and says, you promised you'd come to so, and I've been to everyone since. So, yep.
Well, you had you have dabbled in quite, so since I've known you, so we went from Svart's Silent but Deadly, which, although, I'm going to give you a pat on the back because you were trying with that one, but it was kind of something, you just kind of threw together, right? I mean, it wasn't a big project.
I mean, I didn't do anything professional there. That was my nephew's artwork, and I just printed them up on a copy machine and sold them on eBay for like $1. I mean, they were, it was.
But then you started getting serious about it, And you also started publishing. You got kind of the board game industry, which I think is really interesting because you and I have talked about this a few times. You got the board game industry, which is really kind of the same, but kind of different than RPGs. We can let you talk about that, how different the board game industry is. But you had a great game called Dinosaur Wrestling, which is awesome. Well, actually, the game is called, it's not Dinosaur Wrestling. It's
Ultimate Dinosaur Fighting.
Dinosaur Fighting. They're not wrestling, they're fighting. And then, which is a great game, and it has great miniatures. It's a fun game. You had card games. I bought a couple of your little card games. They're really good. And then, of course, you have actually done some professional gaming or RPG stuff, especially with Call of Cthulhu and Top Secret. And you won the 3 Cast Award 3 years ago for your Call of Cthulhu adventure. Was that the Swamp?
Yep. Devil Swamp.
Devil Swamp.
Got that.
And then the one last year, Top Secret Adventure last year won, which was really which is a really interesting adventure. And I think we had some really positive comments from some of the founding fathers of Top Secret. Merle and Alan loved the direction that adventure went because it's kind of an interesting adventure there. And so your stuff is really slick. I mean, I have some of your really early stuff, and it looks like it was cranked out of the mimeograph machine that your sixth grade teacher had. And then you took a turn, man. You suddenly said, you know what, I'm going to do this professional, and boom, your stuff looks nice. It's slick. It's professional. The artwork's great. So tell us about that. How you went from just semi-pro to pro there.
Oh, sure.
Well. What?
like he was ever a semi-pro, but in any case.
Oh no, it was before. It was just for fun. I mean, I had a good time with it. I wasn't worried about anything. And if it hadn't been for the 3 Castle Award, I probably wouldn't have gone any further, to be honest.
Oh.
But you put a trophy out in front of me, and I get this. I got to go win that. Mm-hmm. And and every year I would submit something, and I knew it wouldn't win. But I wanted to get the comments back. I wanted to see how close I was, And then they'd reject one, and they'd reject another. Then I made the finals, but didn't win, And I knew I was getting close. And then Devils won, and I was actually very shocked because it was up, I thought, against some good competition there that year. And so I hadn't actually seen all the competition for the one that Deep Freeze beat, but the Top Secret module. But I'm sure it's good stuff. So anyway, but yeah, so that really kind of put me over. I just made the decision. If I'm going to make this a company and do it, I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to, I don't like to half-ass things. I like to, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the right way. And that's what I think I've been doing for the last few years. So.
Yeah, so you had a period in between doing RPGs when you came out with a couple of board games. You had the Kid Monster Hunter game. I'm sorry, Ben, I can't remember.
That's all right. Monster Trap.
Monster Trap, which was fun. I have that, but you had the dinosaur fighting game, which is awesome. And the thing I like about that game is, and I don't know if this is something you consciously did with the board game stuff, but the great thing about the the dinosaur fighting game is you don't know who's going to win every game. You could play different dinosaurs every time and have different strategies, and you could have 4 or 5 different people win in one session, which is awesome. You just play it over and over again. And sometimes strategies work, sometimes they don't. You may think that this dinosaur is the best dinosaur to have, and then next time you try another dinosaur, it's better. Tell us a little bit about dinosaur fighting, because that was the game I think kind of put you over the top when you came up with that. That was very professional, and it was, like I said, it had metal minis, as somebody here said, in a box set. And then that's one of the things we always warn against, like, don't do minis. Whatever you do, don't do minis. Minis will screw you.
Yeah, minis can be difficult, but so we came up with Ultimate Dinosaur Fighting, and I actually joined a local board game design group here in the Dallas area and went to them, and the board game went through a lot of evolutions and morphed into a lot of different things, but it's kind of a merge between some of the old school games like Car Wars and Battletech and stuff, and then some of the newer game mechanics of card management and stuff like that. Very little luck involved, but like every dinosaur has to fight differently. You can't use the same strategy for two different dinosaurs. It just doesn't work. And then sold out of the first edition, and then made a new one. And the local guy, J.E. Shields, did the artwork for the new one, which I think looks really slick. And I'm very happy with how all that came out. I think it looks 10 times better than the original. And so I just got those in. So I have those available now, and came out with an expansion pack for it, which includes 2 new dinosaurs. Wow. Of course, it's like in the future after Jurassic Park, and people get tired of seeing them in the parks, they start pit fighting the dinosaurs. So
as we would, as the human race would,
we would. That's just
we would do 2 things, man. We would eat them and we would fight them. Those are the 2 things we do if we had dinosaurs.
Brontosaurus steaks, I bet are good.
How do they taste? And if we put this dinosaur, who would kill each other? And put lasers on their heads.
Oh yeah, because there's tech, there's mutation, there's all sorts of craziness you can add into the game if you want to. It's a lot of fun. I don't think I've ever seen 2 games play the same way twice, and I've probably played 500 games of it, and I still enjoy sitting down and playing it. So it's great. I love it. Says the maker of the
game. so you brought that to North Texas, and you have a tournament for the dinosaur fighting now too. You give away your own trophy.
Yeah, I go ahead and make my own trophies for that, and then run a dinosaur tournament. We've done it every year for about 4 or 5 years now, and so it's always a lot of fun. I get a regular following that come every year to do that. So, and then I actually moved it into the con. So I got special permission from Doug to run that in the con, and since I was the 3 Castle Award winner, and so big. Because I'd have a lot of people complain.
I was going to interrupt you because so for Doug, who doesn't know, Doug's very idiosyncratic about his con. So when we first came up the con, we said we were going to almost exclusively focus on role-playing games because at the time, so many cons have been taken over by Magic cards, by Warhammer, by all these other things, and RPGs were such a small part of the con scene back in 2007, 2008. And so we had said that unless you're a special guest or a staff member, and we've opened up during the years, or an original member that one of the people came the first year, you cannot run a board game. You can only run a board game if one of those conditions. You're a special guest, or with whatever the other 2 conditions are. So basically, there's a lot of finagling that goes on because some people really want to run board games, and they're like, oh, we can't run a board game, but we did that for a reason. The reason is because we want to focus almost exclusively on RPGs. We're not against board games, and we do have people run board games. So Ben got special disposition, but because you're a 3 Castles Award winner, you could run a board game now. So he's always throwing these little things. It's like, oh, you did that, yeah, you could run a game now because of this, So he gave you a special little special Benny there, like
I think he knows. There were a lot of people who were complaining because I'd run it Wednesday night, which was allowed to do board games on Wednesday night. Right. But then a lot of people wouldn't get to the con till Thursday. So then they were coming to me and complaining because they couldn't be in the tournament. So anyway, but we got that straight now. So we run it Saturday now, and it's always a lot of fun. It's a blast. We have it's sold out again this year. Going to have 12 players in it.
Right. Wow.
So it's a lot of fun. I'll run 2 tables, 2 boards, because you can put 6 players on one board, and it's actually it runs faster with more players.
It's a mosh pit of awesomeness too. The more players you have, actually, the more fun it is because it gets crazy then.
Yeah, Dandelion Game says UDF is super fast to play, but still really strategic, and they would like to see a Car Wars version. If they could.
Well, talk to Steve Jackson then. I've done that. They've shot me down before.
So somebody wants to get UDF. How do they go about? You have a page, right? For
yeah, you can go to my website, newcometgames.com, and shop, and it's there.
Yeah, and then do you have Monster Trap also? That's more of a kids game. That's actually I played with my kids. That's more for younger kids, I think. And that's
it was designed for like 6 to 13, that age range, but it's kind of it's a family co-op game. And if
Right.
you don't work together, you will lose. So anyway.
Yep.
Oh,
So
there it
you-
is.
so-
New
so-
comic
There
game.
we go.
Yeah.
So you had a couple of successes board games, but then you decided, well, I'm going to go back to RPGs. Now, what made you decide on Call of Cthulhu? Because then you kind of got, and I know at the time Call of Cthulhu had kind of they had a program. I guess they still have it where you basically license their name, right? And then you put out something. They have to okay it though, but you actually release something with their blessing.
Oh yeah. Well, and money. So yeah, you have to, if you want to license through Chaos, if you want to do anything with the name Call of Cthulhu on it, register trademark, you have to go through them. You have to get a license, and they get a percentage. And so I actually make quarterly, payments to them for that. But I grew up on D&D just the same as y'all guys did. AD&D first edition. And got stuck in first and played a little second. But I played Call of Cthulhu a few years back and just fell in love with it. I got tired of walk into a room, kill a bunch of orcs, take some treasure,
Right.
go to the next room. And that can be fun. And I still do that. I still play D&D, but Call of Cthulhu just is like a step up above D&D, in my opinion. When you start if you're fighting the monster and you don't know how to beat it, a lot of problem with D&D is a lot of times everybody knows how you kill. You use fire on the trolls. You have to use the magic weapons on the wraith or whatever, and watch out, he's going to level drain you. Those sort of things. Whereas with Call of Cthulhu, you have no clue what the heck you're looking at or what you're doing, and if you haven't done your research before you go to fight it, you're probably dead already, or insane. And I love the insanity rules. I think they're great. So, but that's me. Everybody has their own opinions of different role-playing games. I like a variety of role-playing games. Call of Cthulhu is probably my favorite. D&D, I love Top Secret. And there's actually several down the list there that I also enjoy playing that are, Bunnies and Burrows is actually what I love. Bunnies and Burrows. That kind of got me into Call of Cthulhu. I just reached out to him. I wanted to write a module for him. I had Star on the Shore. I'd started running it, and I really enjoyed it. So I reached out to. Actually, I think I posted it on a Facebook page and said, "Hey, I'm probably going to run a Kickstarter for this," and Chaosium contacted me and said, "You can't do that unless you, because this was right when I guess Cthulhu, the name Cthulhu became open license, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, but Call of Cthulhu did not, and so that's why you can have like Fate of Cthulhu and Trail of Cthulhu, things like that, but you can't have Call of Cthulhu without licensing through Chaosium. So they reached out to me and said, "You have to do that." I said, "What do I have to do?" And they sent me a contract. And so now I'm starting on my 4th book. It's already been funded. It funded in 3 hours, of course, Corsairs of Cthulhu.
Wow.
It still has 8 days left. I guess it ends
Nice.
Thursday next week. Our projections, they'll have it end up anywhere between 50 and 60, which would be really nice. I know there's a lot of people who are hoping it reaches 55 because then we're going to add in a whole section to convert it to Pulp Cthulhu as well. So it can run as either Call of Cthulhu or Pulp Cthulhu.
Well, Eric and I have
nice.
we have a pretty good track record here. Usually people running Kickstarters that appear on our show get a huge bump. And we don't know why. It's not like we have a ton of watchers or listeners, but we've done pretty good the last few people we've had. They've shown us pronounced bounces after the show, so we're gonna hope we keep that going with you, Ben. We don't jinx you or anything.
We've had certain Kickstarters reach out to us, and we've looked at it and went, not a good fit. You are a good fit.
Yeah, we don't pimp just anyone. Yes,
right. We're not going to say who reached out to us, but didn't bother addressing us in the email. It's just like, hi, we like your show. Okay, hi who? It's a it's like we'd like to appear on your fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank, yeah. Promoting our Kickstarter.
Yes.
And we've had some bigger people contact us, but they just weren't really within our, not really our demographic, but this just wasn't our deal.
Not a good fit. I mean, Ben, we have spoken at North Texas every year, and not just about games, but just about real life stuff that happens in your life and my life. And this folks behind the scenes, I was late because it was late Mother's Day dinner because my 10-year-old niece was over and all that stuff, and it was like, oh geez, all right, well what should have been like an hour and 15 round trip was almost 2.5 hours round trip picking her up. This is going to be a tight fit to get back to the house in time for this. Normally, when Mike and I have a guest, we spend 10, 15 minutes bullshitting, relaxing, getting to know the person. We know Ben. We both know Ben. On a personal level, we didn't need the bullshit time. Although I will say,
I still enjoy that.
This is not bullshit time now. We're bullshitting now. I mean, come on. We just got
With the bullshitting when the time actually matters, when we got people listening in to the podcast. So, But,
Ben, was this the first time? I forgot it. The reason we're having a show is because we're having the whole month of May. We're having special guests that are going to North Texas, and is this the first year you were a special guest? Because I want you to know I have been championing you for years because Doug is stingy with the special guest designation.
He likes the old school guy.
Yes, if you could, and so is this the first year you weren't a special guest last year? Where you were just
I was. Last year was my first year.
Remember that was because we only had like 70 people. So
I mean, it was like I was the only guy who could get to come. So. I was way down.
But he is
scraping the bottom of my shoe. Let me see who I can get.
Unless he's heard of you, unless you published D&D 35 years ago. We've just gotten to where he kind of knows who Jeff Talanian is and realizes Jeff Talanian is pretty popular, so that's cool. But I was talking to him a couple years ago. I said, we need to make Ben a special guest. He's like, oh, Ben, look, he's published board games. He's published D&D stuff. I mean, and this is before you'd won the first 3 Cast Awards. Yeah. It's like he's done really everything that you could ask a special guest to do, and he's local. You don't have to pay for him really to come into town, and so it just takes a while to finally break through his thick skin and say, "Oh yeah, this guy has done a few things." Like, yeah, he has. He's done quite a few things.
Maybe I do want to show something cool for Corsairs of Cthulhu. One of the things I did was I got Alyssa Fadden. Y'all know who Alyssa is, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Cartographer extraordinaire, yes.
Yes. So she did this map for me. I don't know if y'all can see it. Oh, it's so dark.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me embiggen you if I can.
Oh, okay.
Or at least make you bigger. Not as embiggen as I would like it.
All right. So
at least we don't have to screen share.
All right. There we go.
Okay. Oh, now you can see it. Yes.
Yeah. So this map is made up of 4 pieces. Okay. Oh, if I can hold it in front of my camera. All right. And it's really hard to see, but it's 3-dimensional.
Oh.
And if you glue it, and you get part of the Kickstarter, you can get the STL files, or at the highest level, I have it 3D printed for you. And when it's glued together, it goes like this. Okay. And I put some dark stain on this to make it look a little aged. But and then there's a key that goes with it. Okay. And if you line the key up in the map,
bingo.
Right. Yep. It actually tells you where they need to go, and all the pieces come separate, right? The 4 pieces of the map, and there's like 8 pieces for the key. And then part of the campaign, they have to find these pieces and assemble this and put it together as they go. So I just think that is so cool. I love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now I got to see if I backed at the special key level. Is that? I don't know if I backed the special key level.
It's the highest, the physical level. Now, if you did any of the digital ones, you'll get the digital files so you can print it yourself.
Okay,
but,
I probably did that. Yeah, that's probably what I did.
But yeah, I think it's really cool, and I'm really excited. I just got these 3D prints in, and you can see it's raised there on the edge. Well, if I can hold it in front of the camera, and the lines are hard to make out through the camera and everything, but
it's 110. That's actually not. It's not bad. For the complete. You know, especially I don't own a 3D printer because if I did, I'd use for something more important like games. So it's like, no.
Yeah. So, and you know, if you're planning on buying the book because you like the book and you're never gonna, you put it on your shelf, never play for it, it's probably not worth it. But if you're planning on using it, because you can also just print the map and then cut it out. But cutting out the tentacles can be difficult. I'll admit that. You can see that I did one and I had to use razor blades to get in there and cut that out. But it doesn't look as cool. But I'm really excited about it's called the Astronomer's Map. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be really cool. So
I backed at the $60 level. I guess I need to go up a little bit to $80 to get that. Yeah.
No, the 60 has the STL files.
Okay, so. but not the. Okay, I got you. Okay, cool.
Right. So if you printer at $60, you can print it. But I don't have my own 3D printer, so I need to come in at $110.
I might have to up mine too. Yeah,
there you go.
That looks too cool.
80, I include the map folio, and at 110 you get the map folio and this and a couple other little trinkets to go with it. A metal doubloon.
Spanish doubloon replica.
Not guaranteed to be magical.
wait, hold on. They're not guaranteed to be magical. Come on.
What the hell, man?
What the hell? Anyway, but yeah.
I
want my magical, and it has to. Is it gold or just?
If they were chocolate coins, I might have backed it. I like the chocolate.
I love the chocolate gills.
Yeah, if it's not chocolate, I don't know, man. I don't think
it was Scroll down the Kickstarter a little bit more. And there you go. And that's the doubloons. We actually get them from Norse Foundry.
They do good stuff.
Yeah, and it's a good size, quarter, a little bit bigger than a quarter size metal doubloon. And it's part of the game is you get one. Hey, Ben, you get one during the campaign. Somebody gives you one and it is magical in the game. So it's just kind of a little thing to go with it. So you get that in the 3D, and it also comes with a gem that goes with the map as well. That's non-Euclidean. So anyway, but that's But yeah, I think it'll be really cool.
I certainly like it. And by the way, with Ben Barsh chiming in, we have two people who have better hair than Mike and I. So let's.
Ben has the hair, that's for sure.
I'm giving him a hard time about appearing on GDZ this week. Come on, man. We had him on like 3 weeks ago, and GDZ's like, oh, we better scrape up some Talking Crit guests because we got nothing going on here, because that's what they do. They're meatheads.
Oh, come on.
They don't know if they're good.
We declined to interview some of the GDZ guests. They just don't reach our criteria.
See, this is how you know there's something wrong, because in 2 weeks' watch, they'll have Ben Barsh on there. They'll Ben Burns on there. Like, oh, yeah, he was on Talking Crit, so yeah, sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
I love Zach and I love Skeeter, but they don't have the same je ne sais quoi, which I don't know what it means. But they don't have the same attitude that the Tenkar and the Bad Mike have.
No, definitely not.
You know,
those traders complimented the hair more. Oh, come on! We sit here and we talk. All they do is talk about your damn hair. You cannot say that they complimented your hair more.
Listen, I'm just glad I have hair. Okay,
that's bullshit.
Well, you're not a special guest here, Ben. So no hair.
Yeah. This is the real Ben. This is the Ben that counts, man.
Yeah, 6 months from now, when we have you back on, if we do, we'll talk about your hair again. If you still have your hair by then, I don't know. I mean, it may just be a flash. You may be a flash in the pan, dude.
Oh, is he going to follow his father?
Oh.
Bad.
We might have lost him there.
Yeah, he's like, screw this. I'm going home.
Yeah, he's gone. That's it.
I'm going back to Disney. I'm the abuse.
We're trying to give him tough love here. Come on.
We love Ben and Bill. They're great guys.
Oh yeah. Listen, I still remember my first North Texas. Went to the vending room. They had the table immediately to the left. And I remember looking at all this, I was like, "Oh, I want all this stuff, but it comes in boxes." And I got to go back to New York. I don't think I can buy a lot of boxes. Son of a! But they make some good stuff, man. They really do. They're good. And that's the great thing about North Texas RPG Con. A lot of these vendors and smaller publishers, really, you get to see their stuff, put your hands on it. You're not just, shopping sight unseen online. But it becomes tangible, and there's something special about that.
Well, what's cool is Ben now, the real Ben Burns, as he has a booth now in North Texas. He's actually done a lot of other cons too, and he has like a lot of product now. Because it used to be when he was first doing the cons, he had like the dinosaur wrestling game. That was like it. Then every time he publishes, we get a little more. And now, he's got a pretty good selection. One of the cons we went to a couple years ago, I bought the Massey Arleth tip, the giant box set. Oh yeah, which I that's my favorite. That's probably my favorite RPG ever published. I love that thing. So I was happy to get that. So you carry a lot more than just your own stuff now. You're a legit dealer at this point.
Oh yeah, I want to carry enough where people come and then, my stuff's there. They come in and they start looking at the Cthulhu stuff because it's there. And then, and they're picking up the Keeper's Guide or whatever. And then I'm like, and I wrote these, and it just, all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, then I'll take this and that, and it just adds to it. If I'm just a little guy in the corner, you don't get near as much. But, I sell dice and stuff too. And that just helps pay for the table and everything. But
because Ben knows this, so he goes to as many conventions as Eric and I do. There's always the one numbnuts that forgot their dice. They traveled halfway across the country. They brought 6 suitcases. They brought all their games and all their character sheets, and they get to the convention and they don't have any dice. You can make a killing off selling dice at conventions.
Oh yeah. Well, my best sellers right now are the metal dice. I sell a ton of those. I got a set of them nice. Yeah. They are super hot. So.
Yeah, and then they're guaranteed to put dents in the table. Throw them, bang, 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 bang.
I tell people, roll them on something. If you roll them on a wooden table, you will ding up your table.
Yes, you will definitely dent that sucker up.
That's when you need one of those like nice leather dice trays with the felt bottom.
Which I sell also.
There you go.
I just happen to have a set of these.
I wasn't serving it up so you could tee off it, but
sir, do you love your wooden table? You would love to protect your wooden table, wouldn't you? Here, I'm gonna bundle. You need to bundle this in with that. Oh yeah, you're right. My wife would not want me to dent up her table, but they will. They will put a dent on your table.
Oh yeah, the metal dice definitely will. So, unless you go up to the aluminum dice, now they won't.
Well, I remember when gem dice. I remember when gem dice were really big, and the problem is, I bought a couple sets of them. They chip. Gem dice they look beautiful, but they do not stand up to lots of gaming. The ones that Frog Guy was selling a few years ago.
A felt. You have to use a felt.
You cannot throw them against. You cannot throw them against a hard surface. I saw Bill Webb split a 4-sider once. It was a gem
Really?
dice. Yeah. Oh yeah. I split it in half. And that's just the problem. They're more meant for looks. And as Ben said, you're really supposed to use like a soft tray or something with them. You don't throw them in a dice thing. It goes clack, 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 down there. Yeah. You're supposed to kind of baby them a little bit.
I do sell gem dice. I only carry a few sets, but people do like them. But I warn them straight up: you got to have a padded surface, you got to have a felt surface, something. If you throw them on a hard surface, they'll chip or crack. So yeah. So anyway,
didn't expect this to become a show, but I honestly, as gamers, the unspoken truth is we all love our dice. We all talk about. I got these dice. These are the soap dice that I got in my Gamma World first edition set back in the day. We always talk about that, right? I mean, that first dice set or second dice set has meaning. And as you get older, our age, it's like, oh, the metal dice, the gem dice, because you need something special. The wooden dice.
Oh yeah, that was real hot a few years back, but yeah.
Yes. I remember.
I didn't like most of the wood dice. They had a couple that were heavier that I liked, but a lot of them were too light, and I just didn't do anything for me.
I remember.
I've never been big on wood.
I was bidding in the North Texas RPG Con auction years ago. I think maybe my first North Texas, and I was bidding for these dice that were made of Coca-Cola wood. And the reason why I was bidding on them is that the old nightsticks, prior to my generation. Any of my these are the ones that you see in the movies where they're making the nightstick dance in their hands on the leather strap. So I was like, I'm bidding, and then I was like, and then finally I'm like, who keeps on outbidding me? And I look, and I'm like, who the hell is this kid, this teenager that's outbidding me? And how do they have pockets this deep? And then Frank Metzner happened to go, oh, it looks like Bill Webb's son is.
Yes.
Like, oh my God!
So Johnny was bidding against you.
Yeah. I was like,
I'm
not going to win. I'm not going to win.
Because he doesn't know when to stop. He just keeps on going and going.
He's going to keep on going, and
there would have been no stopping.
No, and Bill was going to cover it. And then of course I'm like, all right, I'm out. And then of course like Frank's like, Tenkar, are you going to let this juvenile outbid you? I'm like, yes, I am, because his father has much deeper pockets than I do.
Oh, now I got a little story about Bill.
Oh dear.
He may not like this. Anyway, so we were at his daughter was a couple of years ago.
Jillian,
looking at a very sweet girl. Looking at a set of the aluminum dice that came in the vault. The case with the holes in them. And the magnetic lid and all that stuff. And those normally they're $140. I sell them for $125. But she's sitting there looking at these green dice. And then Bill is like, oh, if you want them, go ahead and get them. I said, okay, they're $125. And Bill went, not those. Which is the first time I've ever seen Bill balk at anything.
Wow.
You probably thought, oh, those are like $50 dice.
Yeah.
Oh, $125? No.
No, I need that on the auction later, the midnight auction. I got something I got to bid on. Yeah, no.
I don't know if y'all have been aware, but I don't know if you've seen the price on older dice from the 70s and 80s now. I know John Peterson, our favorite pal there, has done an article on the dice, and the prices are insane, especially on the original, crappy dice. Used to, you'd roll it and it'd roll forever because it chipped all over the place.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. I have some of those.
Look at some of the prices on eBay for those, and also the old Chessex dice and the old gem dice. Remember the gem dice that really had sharp corners you had to paint? Look on eBay at the prices. It will blow your mind. Those have become a huge nostalgia piece, and a set of those
really
the old dice that are not chewed up can go for over $100 just for a set of those.
Wow.
What people do is they'll put them in, because a lot of times the Holmes box set came with some, and I think there's another box set that came with them. Well, a lot of times when collectors get these box sets, the dice are gone. They'll put these in the set, and that way they have a complete set. I sold last year. I really went too cheap, but was going through an old bag of mine. I found a whole bunch of those old dice all chipped up. There was no die 20s in there, but I had the yellow die 4, whatever orange die or the green die
Right.
8. I can almost remember all the colors. And I had the blue die 12, and then the
white
orange die 6. It was
die
orange.
6. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have any die 20s in there, but I had like 5. I had like 2 or 3 each of those. I put them up on an auction site. Like, $100 buyout, 5 minutes, bought out.
Wow.
And that's when you know you made a mistake.
Yeah.
You're like, oh. And then somebody was
when
saying,
you barely hit send and he didn't buy out.
And then people were like going, oh, goodbye. I'm like, oh, this is obviously, as long as I've been in the business, I was not keeping up with dice prices. So I educated myself after that. And I realized those dice go for a pretty penny now. So yeah, we could be, as gamers, we're very nostalgic about our dice also just as much. And those aren't good dice. I mean, the old dice are not good dice.
No, they
were shitty.
Yeah. And especially
but
even the old
nostalgia you're buying. It's not the dice. So.
Even the old gem ones that you had to paint in the colors, they're not very, technically they're not very good dice because you can't see the numbers unless you paint them.
Right.
You can finally see the number. And if you're going to paint dice or use that wax stuff to go in there, you're going to change the dynamics of the dice. Because you're putting weight in there somehow. You're messing with the dice itself. So these are not really technically really good dice, but we like nostalgia. There's some games we like that aren't really very good games, but we like them because we just, one of my favorites is you talk about like Top Secret. And I get in arguments with Bill Barsh about this all the time. I thought the first edition Top Secret was almost impossible to play. I played it, but you had to have a calculator right by your side and to add up all the numbers and stuff going on there. And technically, I don't think it was really a very good game. But there's still a lot of people. Bill Barsh is one of those, and Ben might be too. That hey, I still have a lot of great stories about the game. But yeah, technically, I thought Top Secret SI played easier and better. Now, the new version of Top Secret, I have not played that yet. I've read through the rule book.
Oh, you got to try it. Yeah.
I played it.
Is it pretty good? Or I've never played
I like it a lot. It plays pretty smoothly. There's a few things I would have changed about it, but yeah, I like it a lot. The original rule book had some editing issues, but they fixed that with a PDF. So, if you get it, make sure you get the PDF from TSR. But 95% of the book is great. No problems at all. And it's I loved it a lot. I just wish the new TSR, Jason Elliott, would support the game more. That's my biggest issue with it, because they came out with the box set, which I thought the box set was great. There's all these playing aids in it. They came with the keeper screen. It came with the intro module. And then my company, I actually had it set up so as soon as the box hit, we launched our Kickstarter like the next day, right, for the first adventure. And my plan was we're just going to start pushing into there and doing Top Secret adventures. And we did the first 2, and they got out. And now we're a year into this, and they still haven't produced anything else. And now it's been 2 more years, and they still haven't really produced anything else.
You've won the 3 castles.
I won the 3 castles.
You think they would try to build off that and say, hey, one of the adventures for our game is won the 3 castles award, but no, they just kind of.
I know, and I'm just like, it's frustrating when you have a game that you love and the people who produce it just don't support it. Now it's still great. I know there's a active group on Facebook, and they're always putting out little stuff, little adventures that they've run and stuff and written. Of course, it's not real professionally done. There's not a lot of maps and everything else, but there's stuff out there for it. It just, if you go to the game store looking for it, you're not going to find it, because he hasn't gotten into distribution or anything like that. So, I sell it and I sell my 2 adventures, but I've kind of moved on from Top Secret, unfortunately. And I had another adventure ready to go to Kickstarter. I mean, it's already written, already play tested, even has some artwork done for it.
Yeah, no reason for it now if they're not going to support it. Yeah.
Well, here's the issue, and partially I'm going to surmise and guess. is that they are in the midst of a trademark dispute right now over TSR.
Right, that's true.
Their lawyer apparently dropped the ball, allowed the trademark to lapse. It was picked up by the guys behind the Hobby Dungeon Museum.
That's right. I've heard. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Geneva, right? Yep.
Right, up in Lake Geneva. So they tried to snag it. Now, last I checked, I gotta say it's been about a month and a half since I checked. The trademark was, I guess, it had lapsed for quote new TSR, but the Dungeon Hobby Shop's claim on it had not been approved yet on the federal level. They have a claim in that was approved on the state level in Wisconsin, which doesn't mean shit if the federal trademark you don't get. But in any case, that is the brouhaha, and I don't know what's going on with it. I have no inside information, and I guess we'll all find out. The chips fall where they may. But,
last I heard from Jason, he said, "No, there's no dispute at all."
Well, the great thing about TSR, the nostalgia that I love about TSR was, this is back when D&D was king, and it was one of the, they also had Gamma World, which wasn't supported very well, and so they came out with Top Secret. Well, the great thing about Top Secret was, so you're like, hey, let's play another TSR game. So everybody rolls up characters, and if your average D&D player could not play Top Secret because you'd have so
come in shooting.
Your first room, we kick the door in and go with them machine guns. Okay, let's roll. Okay, 3 of you are dead. You got hit in the head. You're blinded in one eye. Your legs are shot out. You're bleeding out on the floor. And the other guy, you taking a concussion grenade. You're on the ground. They're like, what the hell? You died in one room. You're gone. You're all dead. And so it took
a drink my healing potion.
No, that's not going to go. You don't have that.
Scotch, man. Scotch.
No, you're dying. You're on the ground. You're bleeding out. So it was a great game because it required. And I knew friends that simply could not play Top Secret. They just couldn't get into that mindset. They were too much into the fantasy mindset. Now, what's great now is, here we are in the 21st century. We have so many other RPGs we've all grown up with. You can switch that mindset on and off, because obviously, like when you play Call of Cthulhu, that's a totally different mindset too. Because if you go in with guns, you think it's bad going in guns blazing in Top Secret. Trying to go in guns blazing and Call of Cthulhu, you are going to get wiped. You're going to get curb stomped. So you better know what you're fighting and what the things are that you can hurt that thing, or maybe the spell you can cast to get rid of it. Otherwise, that eventually going to be over real quick, and everybody's going to be wandering the swamp insane or dead.
I open up with my Tommy guns. Okay, all of you shoot. You do 184 points. It has no effect. Now it's this part.
Huh? Wow. Listen, what I still remember about the original Top Secret, the first edition, was my dice were green and red, and I think it came with a black crayon, or I used a black crayon. So we were playing Top Secret in lab class in high school, and it was I think physics lab. So you had all these granite tabletops. Well, guess what? Those dice don't last very long on granite. Within the first 30 minutes, they didn't chip, but they cracked. They started to look marbleized. It was surprisingly, and I still have them somewhere in one of my dice storage containers. It's like I have way too many dice that any man should ever need. But those.
You think
those
you
dice,
have too many dice?
You know what? I am a gamer, and at some point, I'm sure my niece will go through it and take as many as she wants, except for my original dice set. She can't have that.
Well, I'm a huge Call of Cthulhu fan. I remember buying it off the shelf back in 1980 or 81, and I
81.
loved it. And I was not that familiar with Lovecraft because at the time it was hard. At one point, it was hard to get Lovecraft. He'd not gone to the public domain yet, and I think Del Rey Books had just got the contract. They came up with those really nice Mike Whelan cover books right about the time I went to college, or I was just in the middle of college, and so I finally got to read all the Lovecraft stuff. I loved it. So I played. This is a mission. I played pretty much every edition of Call of Cthulhu except the latest, most popular edition, 7th edition. So you write for 7th edition Call of Cthulhu, correct, Ben?
Yeah.
So what are the main differences between that and between the earlier editions? Because I think the one we played most might have been the 5.1 edition. It seems like that was during our heyday, was the 5, or maybe 5 or 6, right in that range. But I've never played the latest edition.
Well, I can tell you the difference between 6 and 7. And that was the biggest jump, I think, is that they changed the stats. Instead of being like an 18 and you had to multiply by 5 to get your 90 that you were rolling against. You do that right from the beginning.
They're percentages, so all your stats, right? Yeah, they're all percentages.
Yeah. So everything's percentages. They've added in a luck stat that you can then burn luck if it doesn't have to do with an insanity roll and some combat rolls. Like you can't burn luck for damage and stuff like that. Then, and so you can burn some luck, but your luck goes down and it doesn't go back up very, very quick. So you can burn up your luck over the course of a game. And then they added in, instead of being like minus 10% or minus 20%, they added in the advantage, disadvantage dice. So that makes, so if anything's a plus, you just add an advantage dice, so I think it runs pretty fast, and there's not a whole lot of difference. Sandy's still Sandy. You still burn it. You still go down. You still go insane. So
Sandy's one of the greatest. That if Sandy Peterson's remembered for anything, it has to be the Sandy thing, because it's great. Because that's the first game where you could basically just go nuts and you lose, because everybody in the party is wandering around the old asylum and they're all chewing their hands off, or they're banging their head against the wall, or they're screaming that don't let the toads near me. I mean, so that was the greatest mechanic ever. The fact that you had Sandy, and when somebody's there at the table and they roll up, they roll their character, they roll up a 25 Sandy, everybody just kind of shakes their head, looks at them like,
he ain't lasting long.
You're not going to be here very long. Don't give him the Tommy gun. He does not get the Tommy gun, because he is going to go crazy really quick, and he's going to be shooting everybody. So the guy with 95, he gets the guns. Give the guns to that guy.
We had and what I like is that so many different things can happen. In D&D, when you fail your fear check, you just run away. Or freeze and play. But I loved that in 6E, and I still use those charts from 6E, and I think they reproduced them in 7. To be honest, I didn't even look, because I like these too much. Right. And they had 10 different things that could happen. And of course, I put them on a dice, so now I can just roll the dice.
Another great Kickstarter. I have you had some great. I'm sorry, this segue here. You had some great dice with body parts on them, insanity. You have all kinds of cool dice. I bought a few of those dice too. Those are great.
Yeah, but you roll the die, or you roll on the chart. I hate looking up charts, so that's why I put them on die. You roll the die, and all of a sudden, this guy goes catatonic when everybody else is trying to run away. Or they're fighting the monster and you got suicidal tendencies. Okay. And so, which happened at North Texas about 3 years ago, and a flying polyp comes running in, and they're trying to cast this spell to convert this, so this guy had to commit, to bring in the soul of this ancient warrior who's dead to fight it. And everybody's fighting and running around and doing stuff, and this guy goes insane and gets suicidal mania. And so he's like, well, I put my gun to my head and I go around the table, and nobody stopped him. And I was like,
whoa.
He's just pretending. He's just pretending.
I come back to him and he goes, I guess I pulled the trigger.
Wow.
Yeah. So things like that can happen. And you just don't get that kind of stuff in D&D. It was fantastic. Everybody, I think they voted him for best role player and won the prize. I like to give out prizes in my games.
My best insanity ever is we were running the classic old Call of Cthulhu adventure, Shadows of Yog Sothoth, where at the end they actually go to rely, and then Cthulhu rises and they have to get the hell out of there, just like the original story. And so at the end, they're all running out of this temple. So I make all the players roll, sanity roll, because they've seen too much. Cthulhu is actually chasing them. Cthulhu is chasing them, and so one guy fails horribly. His sanity was really low by that time anyway. And so I said, okay, well, you're nuts. Cthulhu's chasing. I'll let you do whatever you want to do. What do you want to do? Because I take my butcher knife and I run at Cthulhu to attack him. Everybody's like, good deal. That's pretty awesome. So he picked up a butcher knife. And he was crazy. He was doing weird. The player was having him do really weird things. So he drops his gun, grabs a butcher knife, and rushes Cthulhu and hits him in the toe. And as the rest of the party is like, "Way to go, buddy! We're out of here." And so, mercifully was crushed to death the next round by Cthulhu. But I thought that was a great one. I was like,
that's the way to go.
You just do whatever you want to do because you're completely permanently insane right now. Like, I'm gonna take on Cthulhu with a butcher knife. Like, okay, let's do it, baby. Let's see what happens.
Oh yeah. Well, I was playing when I was playtesting Star on the Shore. It's been out long enough. Spoiler alert for anybody who wants to. So at the end, they're fighting the Star Spawn, and we're getting some feedback there. But the party was all dead, and this one lady just had these bundles of dynamite, and she's like, "I just go to hugging." Yeah.
Nice.
They took this Star Spawn out. Light her.
Well, did she end up blowing up the creature?
Oh yeah, she did.
Hey, it worked.
Well, I mean, they had like 10 bundles of dynamite.
Oh my dear God! Yeah,
yeah, it just rocked the city. So it was great.
I had another call. Speaking of dynamite and fire, so I had one group that was a long time group that played, and they basically their solution to everything was to burn everything down at the end. At the end of every adventure, they burned down whatever.
Burned it out
to the point where I had the police investigate them for arson because so many places they've been to were burned down. So at one point so they did this. So at one point they're running along in their jalopy and it's full of gasoline. I mean, because they're going to go burn. Of course, they're going to go burn down this house, like the Marsh Mansion or whatever. There's all these deep ones in there, and so it's dark. There's no lights on the road. They're driving a Model T, whatever, and so. There's two of the characters. They actually both played. They're gangsters. And they worked for the other richer characters. And so when they wanted something done, the rich characters would call them up and say, "We need you to come here and get rid of stuff." So they burn the house down, or they burn the police station down, or they burn the barn down, wherever something happened. So they're going along. And so for fun, I said, "Okay, y'all make your luck rolls," and they both failed miserably. So okay. Big Ed, you're smoking a cigar. You got a car full of gasoline. You just hit a bump in the road. I had them roll again, and they failed. And I said, the news story the next day: fireball engulfs highway. Pieces of body are found everywhere. We suspect the dead included gangsters. Big Al Jones or whatever. Like, are we really dead? I said, yes, you're really dead.
You're really dead.
You had 16 gallons of gasoline in the car, or whatever. And yes, you blew the car up. You're gone. It's a fire.
All right. All right. I gotta tell this story about burning things down. So I'm playing The Haunting, except everybody knows at the end of Haunting, you got Corbett in the basement, right? Spoiler alert. All right, 80-year-old.
That's been out 40 years old. 40 years.
Right. Yeah. All right. I had changed it so he had this protection spell on him. And this was to keep the guys from just being able to run in and just gun him down, right? Which you could do.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he had this shield, magical shield protection that protected him from normal attacks, including fire. Well, they burnt the house down and left. Okay.
We took care of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they hear on the news. All right. They turn on the radio, and there's this news of all these firefighters and police getting slaughtered out in the street where they went to fight the fire. So the players hop in the car, runs back out there. They see Corbin out there. It's just a freaking blood.
Did you make them do sanity rolls? Because they basically led to the death of about 24 police officers.
Yes. Absolutely. That was great.
You've told me that story.
It's a great story. I love that.
That's a terrible way to mess with the characters, but it's true. Yeah, I think even the book itself, I think he's immune to kinetic energy, or it doesn't affect him very much. So that's within the.
He's got some protection. He can take about 10 or 20 points of damage.
Fire's kinetic energy. So sorry, man. Yeah. They went home. They had a beer, kicked back, listened to their game, the Dodger game on the radio. Attention.
We're breaking in.
Like, oh, we screwed up really bad.
Yes, they got that.
But that's the whole point of Call of Cthulhu, right? I mean, the successes are great, but the failures are almost just as fun.
Oh, yes. Great stuff. But, so I think...
All right. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was just going to say, I love, that just goes back to the whole thing. Corsairs of Cthulhu, my Kickstarter, is a whole campaign.
Oh, I know. I was going to ask you, are you running any Call of Cthulhu games at North Texas this year?
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I am. Out of Corsairs of Cthulhu. I'm going to run, I'm only running one night, Saturday night like I usually do, because Thursday night I do the Paranoia clone. But Saturday, it's going to be a double adventure, and I think the players are going to have a blast. But the campaign, I've been running it since September, and we run every week for a couple of hours, and then we talk about what happened and improvements I can make. And we're still going, and I'd say they're about 2/3 of the way through the adventure. So it's going to be a long campaign, and you can pull parts out and just do one shots, but I think it's going to be great. So,
what year does this take place in, Corsairs of Cthulhu?
So it covers the 1650 to 1730. So the campaign actually takes place in 1697. So right in the middle of the golden age there of piracy. And
nice, yeah. Good deal. Well, definitely check it out and back it. I'm backed it. I'm sure Eric's backed it too. And you remind me of one thing too. You run a Paranoia game every year because you ran it one year. Everybody had such a great time that Doug makes you run a Paranoia game every year.
Yes, he bought the Own Your Soul level on one of my Kickstarters, so he told me I had to run Paranoia. But I actually don't run Paranoia anymore. They pissed me off. Okay. So I created my own Paranoia clone called Zeta Complex, and but yeah, the people who make Paranoia really chat me off.
You chap off Ben. Ben moves on. Says,
I move on. And what's funny now is so the story is, I write a new adventure every year for North Texas and run it every Thursday night. And I'd written one called Maybe Clones Aren't Such a Good Thing. And somebody made Jurassic Park in the future. I love dinosaurs. What can I say? And as an adult, nobody ever comes and asks me what my favorite dinosaur is anymore. It's like they don't even care. But anyway, we had a lot of great players in there. Zach was in that game, but Alana was in it. Anyway,
you had a lot of great players, and Zach was in
Zach. Oh, okay, yeah.
Technical.
And they were playing the characters from the movie Jurassic Park. They just didn't realize it, But anyway, they had a great time. It was so much fun. They told me, you have to print this up. And so I just got some high school girl to do art, and I typed it up and I printed it. It was more just, here it is. It looks bad, but the adventure is fantastic, and I really loved it. And I put it up on DriveThruRPG, and I was selling it for like 99 cents. And it doesn't actually say Paranoia anywhere on it. Okay. Well, the people who make Paranoia contacted DriveThru and said he needs to take that down. He's violating our copyright. And I was like, I don't think I am actually. And DriveThru said, nope, we're going to back with the bigger guys. Yeah, and they said, unless you can get them to agree to let you do it. So I contacted them and I said, listen, there's Paranoia nowhere in here. And they're like, we don't care. We think you're violating our copyright. All right. I'm like, which copyright am I violating? Because I don't have anything about Paranoia. And he's saying, well, the whole idea concept of this world. And I'm going, okay, you can't copyright that. All right. And anyway, they said, well, we're not going to let you do it. I said, I tell you what, I'll just put it on and let people pay what they want. I won't even charge anything. I'll give it away for free. People can pay what they want. And, usually you'll get 100 people, 99 will take it for free, and one guy will give you 10 cents,
Yeah, pretty much.
And they said, no, you can't even do that. And I said, all right.
Man, they were going to be hard asses about this.
Wow. Yeah. I said, I tell you what, I license to Chaosium. I write really good Call of Cthulhu books. I will do the same for you. I tell you what, let's write a contract. I will pay you a percentage of any profits. I have about 10 paranoia modules ready to roll out the door. I could have these out in 3 or 4 years. I can have them all out and be writing more for you. Right? I'll do them professional, the whole bit, and y'all just get free money. And they're like, no, we're not really interested in this.
God.
I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And so I said, screw y'all then. I'm going to make my own game, and there's nothing you can do about it. So
now we have Zeta Complex. Yes.
Now we have Zeta Complex, and now they're looking for people to license with them to write modules.
Did you say, can you hear this? When they did that.
No. Anyway, so with any luck, Zeta Complex will be hitting Kickstarter later this year. So that's the plan. We'll see.
Nice,
I'm looking for the fall time frame, third, fourth quarter. So.
Definitely hit me up when you do, because listen, I loved Paranoia. I bought Paranoia first edition when it came out.
Yep, that's what I played.
didn't have the dice in it. I wrote a letter to. Listen, this was back in the early '80s, and dice were gold.
Yeah. 83, 84, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't include my dice, you're hurting me. And I wrote a letter, and I still have it. It's still in pristine condition. I get this letter back, signed by Ken Rolston. It's on block matrix, not dot matrix. The old block matrix was one step higher. And it starts out as a professional letter, and then the computer breaks in, saying I must be a traitor because the computer never makes any mistakes. It's great. I'll have to rescan it. I haven't scanned it in a number of years.
That's awesome.
But I have the letter. I never got dice. They never sent me my fucking dice. But that being said, I actually was a playtester for Hill Street Blues, or Hill Sector Blues, whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
Because they used to be located in Manhattan, in New York City. And they had an open call for playtesters, and me and two of my buddies went down. And when you're playtesting sitting at somebody's work desk, and one of your friends is sitting on the desk, because that's the space you have to play on, it's an interesting situation. We were let in from the back door where the freight comes in. I was just like, this is bizarre, but it was an experience. So yeah. I have fond memories of running Paranoia. I really do.
I played it for years. I loved it. It just kind of, I'm not a big fan of these new guys who are running it. So
that would be Mongoose if my memory serves me well.
The only thing I remember about we never played Paranoia, but I remember buying. Is it Black Box Clearance Blues?
Yes, back by John.
That is one
John
of the
Ford.
best RPG adventures ever written. Not just Paranoia. It is absolutely one of the best RPG adventures ever written. It's if somebody wants to learn how to write RPGs, I would say get what is it?
Yellow Clearance Black Box Blues, if I remember right.
Yellow Clearance Black Box. It's absolutely one of the best RPG adventures ever written. It really is.
Written by, if I recall, by John Ford, who is or was a professional science fiction writer.
He was a science fiction writer,
it's amazing.
It's a great adventure. If you read it, it's a bunch of set pieces that all tie together. It has one of the best ending scenes in any RPG of all time, where basically everybody they fought the entire long adventure all come together in one spot. It is hilarious. So yeah, it's anybody that wants to learn how to write a good RPG adventure, there's a few things you would buy. I mean, Master Arthur would be one of them, but Yellow Black Box Clarence Blues is definitely one of the ones you have to buy. That's and like I said, I didn't even play Paranoia. I read that and just was like, wow, I'm in the presence of greatness. This is a great freaking adventure. It is. It's good. It's really good.
Cool.
Well, we talked to Ben there and found out about his Kickstarter and all the good stuff. And so there's something I've been wanting to talk about with Eric all week, and we kind of touched on it a couple of nights ago, but we didn't really get into it. And I thought you might have thoughts on this. And I'm talking about our buddy James Raggy and Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
God, yeah. Throw this out there because I'd like to comment.
I'm just, I've got this page on Facebook, and we posted. I guess was it last year when he made that really wacky video.
The video.
He's in the park in Finland in the night, and he's walking around. It's really cold, and he's ranting about how he's going to reinvent gaming, and he doesn't want to pay salaries anymore. He's not going to pay artists. It's really odd. It's really weird. And
it was scary, and I had Rach watch part of it. Remember, she is a social worker, so you can say she's a mental health professional, and she was like, "Wow, if he like reported to one of his sessions with me like that, she goes, I would be like, calling an ambulance to have him mentally evaluated." Yeah, pretty much. It didn't look good. And listen, I think James must have known it didn't look good either, because he looking to get some counseling for his mental health and being denied by the Finnish government. So
he's had a rough year last year because he wasn't able to go to conventions, and it turns out he made about 60% of his money from conventions.
Yeah.
He had a financial crisis, and he went ahead and basically begged the fans to help him, and they did. They came through in a big way, and he was sent quite a bit of money for on orders. So. I think it was tax money he owed, right? He had owed some tax money.
It wasn't tax money. He had taken loans out from the Finnish government for his business. The loans were coming due. Right. That was the issue. And when they said they were coming due, it was over 6 figures in American currency, USD. Wow. And he had to raise the money pretty quickly, or else the dream of Lamentations would have been over and done. And he did. Now, you're saying that 60% of James's income is from conventions. Well, let's say 30% of his income probably came from Zach Smith. I mean, honestly, so between conventions coming to an end because of the pandemic and Zach Smith being unpersoned, and by the way, anybody who's listening to this and is saying that Tenkar is an apologist for
Let's
fucking
don't do
Zach
this
Smith.
again, people.
Hold on a second. I got a message for you. All right? It's a visual. Sorry, in a podcast you can't see it. Okay? I personally think Zach is a piece of
and you've only said that for the last few years, and anybody that's aware of your interaction with him know that. I can't believe somebody took you to task and basically accused you of loving on Zach on Facebook, when you have made it extremely obvious the past decade how you feel about Zach, and he and by the way, there's no love lost between you either. He can't stand you either. So
if I was on fire, Zach wouldn't piss on me.
For that one person to go over the top and just say, well, you must be taking up Zach. That was the most ludicrous thing.
Right.
That's the most brain dead, out of context thing I've ever seen. Was that guy trying to take you to task for? You must just love Zach because you're
because you're not taking the accusations against him as truth. And I'm like, listen, I know Zach is a piece of shit. I know from my personal experience, and I can.
And you're not saying Zach didn't do those things. You're just saying there's no. It's a he said, she said.
I can't prove it.
No, right.
And
you can't prove anything.
I can't prove it, and therefore, listen. And to put this in perspective for the folks out there, I did my 20 years as an NYPD police officer and sergeant, but I left out of internal affairs. And the thing with internal affairs is there were basically different ways cases could be closed, and it was. Founded means you fucking did it. Unfounded, we can prove you didn't do it. Unsubstantiated, we don't fucking know if you did it or that we can't prove it either way. So it is unsubstantiated. And what is the worst blemish you can have? A bunch of unsubstantiated claims against you because you can say you didn't do it. Well, there's no proof either way, but it's still on your record. Listen, there are unsubstantiated claims that Zach, beyond being a piece of shit to people individually like myself and others in the community, has claims against him that are sexual harassment or sexual abuse. But
both,
from my perspective, they're unsubstantiated. I'm not saying that they're false claims. I'm not saying that they're truthful claims. We can't prove them one way or the other, but they're a blemish on him, and he's never going to wipe that one off unless somehow he goes to court and can prove himself one way or the other.
So that's basically took a long trip there to show you that James had a rough year because he lost Zach, he's lost money, this, that, and so he made the crazy video outside. So I just made the point that I've been, I have Facebook, I have Lamentations of Flame Princess Facebook page, and James posts quite a bit. He's having issues, having financial problems, saying he can't pay artists. If you do art for him, it's going to be on spec. Writers the same way. And he just had a post recently where somebody questioned about something and he flipped out and was just basically going. So Eric and I are reading this. And we're like, well, at what point? I mean, we love Lamentations products.
Yeah,
we think James is James is cool. But at what point do you say, you know what, maybe this isn't going to work? Because it just sounds like James and Lamentations is having a really, really bad last 2 years. And it doesn't look like anything he's doing now. He keeps referring to the fact that what he's doing now is so pushing the envelope that it's going to cancel him. He's going to be canceled once this comes out because it's so over the top. And I think that's where he has to go now. He's already been shock jock. Now he's got to be like over the top shock jock.
Shock jock, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we kind of had a talk. We're like, we're just this in. Is it almost time for James to hang it up and just say, I did about a decade of this. He did a decade. He made a really good run, put out some great product. But maybe it's time to hang it up. Maybe this is it.
If your business model relies upon unpaid interns to do the work for you, because
that was the post he made.
Yes,
was that hey, how can I get unpaid? I live in Finland. How can I get unpaid interns to do the work for me? And he had a lot of people suggesting, well, you have to do this and this. Well, it turns out you can't have unpaid interns to do work for you if it's profit work. It's only charity work or something like that. So, I mean, he's to the point now where he wants unpaid interns to help him to do packaging and stuff. He needs artists, but he can't pay you up front. Which, Ben, do you know for many artists that work without any pay up front?
Oh, yeah. Exposure always pays the rent. I've heard that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then his writers, he's telling writers, like, well, just knock me out with something and I'll give you, give you 80% of profit. I mean, he's basically not going to pay anything for it. So I just don't, I'm thinking it worked for a long time. He brought some great product. Maybe it's just time to hang it up for him. I mean, and maybe I'm completely wrong. And James, I'd love if you saw this somehow or some of our attention, you got in touch with us and let us know what's going on, because it just sounds like things are not going well. And this may be the twilight of Lamentations here.
I know, and you hate to see that because Lamentations is
definitely
great. I loved it, but it's they're suffering right now. So
well, dare I say it? It sounds like it's not the Lamentations, but the death knell. I mean, that's really what it's coming down to. I mean, it's been the perfect storm for James, and I understand it. And listen, on that video,
I'm sorry, let me interrupt you real quick. I forgot this totally. Tenkar. He also just had an issue where he miscalculated shipping, or shipping was raised in the last time, and for Kickstarter,
shipping will kill you.
Yes, and he just had an issue where basically shipping went. He messed something up, or they didn't tell him the right thing. So it turns out he's going to lose a buttload on shipping, and he doesn't even know how he's going to ship product after a certain date, because apparently the shipping's going up so much he can't even afford to ship anymore. So I'm sorry, so he's got that going on top of all the other stuff we've already mentioned.
It's a perfect storm. It literally is, and you have to realize too that people like the Lamentation stuff, but not because it's stuff that you can use at your table because it looks physically amazing. The PDFs are fine if you want to read them, but you want those books on your shelf. They're the gamer coffee table books that people are going to look at and go, oh, well, what the hell is this with this bleeding vagina or whatever you have going on?
Yeah. I don't put that on my coffee table.
I'm just saying. But I mean, really, historically, the Lamentation stuff has been very eye-catching. You look at it and you go, oh my God, that is something. And the quality of the hardcovers, top-notch. You can't say that James has half-assed any of the stuff. He certainly has it. But now the question becomes, going forward, if you can't pay your writers up front, you can't pay your artists up front, and you want free interns to do your grunt work for you, what do you have? And let's be honest too. He's an American living in Finland, so it's not like he has much to fall back upon if he can't make his business there. Because then what happens? He just comes back here.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think he has. I mean, he's been there for so long. I don't think he has a lot here anymore. And so this is an example. This is the kind of post he's been making lately. He's having problems. I want to call him up and say, hey, pal, I really want to email him because I've had really good exchanges with him on email last few years. It's like I want to take him and give him a hug. I mean, that's how bad things sound like they're getting for him, and just seeing him on that video, how terrible that looked, and just seeing these recent posts about how apparently the shipping has gone way up, which we all know Frog God, we're having the same issues, which is why we don't ship overseas anymore. Well, the problem is a huge amount of James's business is shipping to the United States. I mean, it really is.
Right.
And so he can't not ship overseas. Now at Frog God, we don't ship overseas anymore. We do POD in the country of origin, and that has saved us so much time and money. And just an incredible amount of missing shipments, broken shipments, lost. I mean, all these problems we've had, we don't have to worry about it anymore. James cannot. That's not what he does. He sells really nice premium books that he has to end up shipping from overseas. And if shipping goes up, which shipping has been going up anyway, but if this proposed European raise in shipping goes up, it's going to be hard for James to afford to ship. I mean, really, so you're right. It's a perfect storm of all these just lousy things happening to him. And, we've seen, look, TSR went under at one point. TSR, who was basically printing money in the 80s, by the 90s couldn't pay their printer anymore. And had to be bought out by WotC. So it's not like if you're not a successful company, bad things can't happen to you. It happens all the time.
That's true.
I'm just curious about where we are with James. And, honestly, I think he's a good enough person that I'd hate to see something bad happen to him in terms of mental health issue, because it just seems like he's just having some really, really rough times right now. And, I know he got divorced from his wife too a few years ago, which is, probably doesn't help. And he just had a rough time. And so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know if this means that Lamentations is his last gasp. Or if he's going to turn this around. If I had to guess, I don't know which way I'd go. I really don't know. I think as long as James can hold it together, I think he can make the company profitable again. But he's got to be able to hold it together. And the Lamentations, the Flame Princess Facebook page, you go there, it's just not good. It's just not good stuff.
Well, Mike, here's part of the issue too. If your business plan includes taking loans out that go over six figures for your RPG company, and you get to the point where those notes are coming due, and you have to put a call out that we have to raise $100,000 or more to pay off these notes, which means that money is not going into James for living expenses. It's going to pay off debt notes. Why haven't these notes been paid off over the years before they suddenly came due? So you knew they were going to be coming due. So that that has other issues involved, whether you want to say it's just poor business planning or it's one of those, sometimes we get into that mindset of, if I don't think about it and close my eyes, like that term paper that's due tomorrow. And I was like, oh, shit, I got 12 pages I got to write in the next 12 hours. Can you do it? Yeah. Are you going to do it well? Probably no. So James got he got himself out of that hole, but he did it by, pretty much digging another hole. You didn't make profit, or you sold over $100,000 worth of product, but it wasn't actual profit. It was just paying off debt, and that's rough.
Right. And so now you're just even, but you're behind again already, right? Especially if that's all he does for a living, right? So, yep.
And as far as I understand, it's all that James does for a living, is publishing with Lamentations. And again, he did great. Listen, last summer, did I say, hey, there's a chance to buy some of James' stuff? Yeah. And if you bought it through, here's the thing: if you bought it through James directly, you could buy a lot of his stuff through an American distributor that James has a contract with. But if you wanted all the tchotchkes that came with it, you had to buy it from James in Finland. But if you bought everything, the shipping was free.
Oh.
And now with the international shipping going one way straight up, that's a tough one. And I'll be honest with you, that's one of the reasons that Frog Guide got out of international shipping too. It wasn't just the fact that half the stuff we were sending was either getting lost or damaged, is because we just didn't feel it was right to ask a loyal customer in the UK or France or Germany to pay $100 shipping or more on some of this stuff, and then have to pay VAT tax on top of that. Value tax on top of that. And so we were looking at people that
don't get me on VAT taxes. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so we were having people that were, like, hey, can you help me here? I just had to pay $180, and we're like, there's nothing we could do. I mean, that is your own country collects that. We can't lie on the box and say this box of stuff is only worth $10. We have to put on there it's worth $95, which means you're going to get taxed out the wazoo. So it sucks because I've been doing buying, selling, trading online since 1992, and at one point I remember I did the analytics of my sales, and I had 50% of my sales were international. 50%. You know what they are now, guys? Less than 5%. Because I cannot afford to ship overseas, and it's wrong to ask somebody that wants to buy one D&D module from me to pay $55 shipping. Which yeah. And so I just don't make very many sales overseas, which sucks because I had some of the best customers I ever had back in the 90s and even the aughts were overseas people that would just like, okay, it's $25, $20, no problem. Well, now a flat rate envelope to the UK is $35 for a flat rate envelope. That's like 3 items. I mean, and so I will ask, and if it's a box, it's $55. So I'm sorry, 55 to Canada, it's 75 to UK.
55 to Canada. They can drive it across the border in Canada.
You think so? Yeah.
So that's why a lot of Canadians that live near the border either have a post office box in the States, or they have an arrangement where they have stuff shipped to the States and they drive over the border a couple times a month to pick up their stuff.
I don't know, Greg Gillespie. I'm pretty sure he gets his stuff printed in the United States and ships from here, because I don't think you can do it otherwise. I really don't. I don't think you could have it printed in Canada and ship outside of Canada, because you're going to lose money. The Canadian dollar is not as strong as the American dollar.
Right.
No matter what you're doing. I mean, Greg made $60,000. Or no, I mean, I'm saying Canadian. I think he made like $89,000, but that's only like $60,000 American.
Right.
For his last Kickstarter.
So, well, I know that shipping inside of Canada is insane too. So
really?
I'm looking at my estimated book, the Corsairs one, and I got a estimated weight for it. And for me to ship it from here to Canada is $30 to ship the book. Just put it in a box, ship it there, $30. And but I got somebody in Canada who's going to distribute them for me, so I can ship them UPS to there. And then from there, they can break them down and ship them out. But even inside of Canada, from one spot in Canada to another, it's going to cost them $18 to ship the book. So I have to take the UPS cost, divide it by how many books go there, and that's how much I got. Plus the 18. So even with the distributor in Canada, it's probably going to run close to $25 a person to get their book. And that's with the distributor in Canada. It's just insane.
And this is why print on demand is becoming so big, because it's one way around that. And that's, like I said, Frog God, we crunched all the numbers and we found that was what we could afford to do was print on demand. And so far, I mean, you can't.
Have you been happy with the quality? Because I've seen some print on demand stuff that looks like shit.
The problem is, and what you're saying, Ben, is true. The problem is the quality is variable. We've seen some beautiful books. I mean, like the person wrote us and said this was the nicest stuff I've ever seen, blah blah. And we've seen some stuff that's just trash. I mean, it came through. But the great thing about most of the print on demand is you can ask for it to be reprinted. And 90% of the time when they reprint it, it's in better shape. They had something wrong that day. The guy wasn't aligning things right. He pushed the wrong button. God knows why. And we had something a while back where all the italic stuff was invisible. It was gone out of a book. It was a run of like Toma Horrors or something. And yeah, all the italic stuff was gone. But they fixed. Well, then people got the book, complained about it, so we had it fixed. But then their second shipment was fine. So it's variable quality. That's the problem with print on demand. But that's really the only way financially we can do it anymore. We can't afford to send $100 books overseas. It's just they're too heavy, they're too expensive, and I think the big straw that came back last year is we had 1 month where we had over $1,000 in lost and damaged shipments, and we're like, this is not. I mean, we're not a huge company. It's hard for us to absorb these kind of losses, you know.
I've luckily never had that issue. But I've got a company in the UK now who's going to distribute it for me. So I'm having my printer actually ship them a bunch, and then I'm getting a bunch, and then they're going to ship from the UK out to the EU, and all the VAT's going to be covered, and hopefully it'll work out. So that's the plan. And then I love Media Mail in the US. It's the greatest mail system that we can ship a book. You know, even if it's $100 book, we can ship it for $5 across the U.S. And it's just,
Well, see, we just started shipping the Swords Wizardry box sets. By the way, Eric, very ugly, showed off his, and I don't even have a copy yet. He's got it.
I haven't got mine either.
We couldn't ship those Media Mail. Ben, you're right. Because of the box.
It's like dice in them or something, right?
Yeah, and then the box and all that stuff. So we couldn't ship those Media Mail. And so we had a big discussion about that, what format we wanted. And we definitely wanted the box format. And we decided in the end, we said, you know what? It's worth it because it looks good. It looks cool. It's going to look great on your shelf. We're going to go with the box format, but the shipping, we're just going to have to make the buyer pay the shipping. I mean, it's going to suck, but that's, we're going to have to do because it's not a book.
Well, like my map, the 3D printed ones will they're going to get shipped separate from the books.
Sure.
So I'm going to ship the book Media Mail, and these go into a box and go, USPS, whatever, first class mail. So, but anyway,
I gotta say these boxes though are such high quality boxes. You can't see it. My virtual screen keeps on blocking it out. These boxes are nice.
This is something you could absolutely pat Matt Finch and Zach Glazer on the back, and I don't like to pat myself on the back, but I'll do it. But one of the things we talked about for years was doing this, and we had said we have to have high quality boxes because so many of the boxes that come out nowadays are just cheap. They're just cheap boxes.
Sword Wizardry white box set by Brave Halfling.
Yeah.
That thing fucking came in the mail with one of the corners busted on me.
The Troll Lord games finally have better boxes, but I remember we were talking about the Castles of Gig a few weeks ago with Jeff Tulane. That's an awful box, terrible box. Now their boxes are much better now because they do a lot more quality control. That's like we do too. So we had sample boxes sent to us to see which ones we thought would be better and would hold up better. So we did. I mean, especially Matt and Zach, they deserve a lot of kudos. They did a lot of work making sure that looked really nice. And we should probably have a show about that after the convention about the Swords Wizardry box set because it's an amazing product. There's so many cool things about it, the way that the digest stuff all fits in there. And when we're going to have digest supplements that come out later, and you're going to be able to put them all in that one box and carry that box around, and that's going to be what you carry to conventions if you want to play Swords of Wizardry. So, and that was all planned out. We did that all on purpose, and I think that's a great idea also. And so I'm really proud of that box. That was a labor of love for us. And
awesome. See, I'm using different fingers this time. 2 thumbs up.
It looks great. It does look great.
Don't tell Zach. You can tell Matt.
Right,
you can tell Matt. Don't tell Zach. I think he's awesome.
We'll tell Matt you gave him an attaboy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Matt gets a thumbs up. He's a genius. Zach, he's doing okay. He's doing okay. He's managed to live in Matt's shadow long enough. He's doing all right.
Ooh.
He's not listening. He doesn't listen to our show. You think he listens to our show? He's not listening to our show. I'm surprised his wife's not here. His wife's not here. But,
He listens to Gamers Health on Saturdays.
Oh, well, he's whatever.
He needs some help though.
Well, that's what we do: address mental health, emotional health, maybe physical health. Zach and I do our morning workouts in VR. So,
well, physical health is real important to me, and
that's for mental health there.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, same difference. I heard about you guys playing. You guys play video games online like a bunch of little kids. I've heard about.
Yes. We get to play Elven Assassin when we get to play Elven Archers, killing shit. Good exercise. And we do virtual racquetball, and I haven't broken anything in my living room yet, so that's good.
I would destroy half of my.
Oh, dude, I've whacked into the TV cabinet like 3 times, and each of those times I went, oh, thank God it wasn't the TV itself.
Yeah.
So the racquetball especially, you finish that and you go.
Now you have a VR helmet, right? Or VR?
Yeah. The Oculus 2. Yep.
Oculus 2. Yep. Because I know Zach has been Zach is the first person that ever showed me VR. It's been quite a few years now, and I remember even back then I was absolutely flabbergasted about how amazing it is because I'd heard about it but never actually seen it. And when you see it, you're just like,
the Oculus 2 is leaps and bounds beyond anything I looked at like even 2.5 years ago. I was like, the immersion is like. Holy.
Well, of course, the first thing I told Zach was, this is going to revolutionize the porn industry. I mean, and he's like, that would be right where you go first. And I was like, just think about it. I mean, this is like amazing.
I think it already has. So.
It's absolutely amazing because it's like you're really there. I'm like, this is going to revolutionize the porn industry. It's cool unless you've actually seen it. And they're getting affordable, aren't they, Eric? They're actually getting to where
I think you can get the Oculus? Is it $299?
Mm-hmm.
The Oculus 2. I'm not sure if that was for the 16 or the 32 gig, whatever it was. But listen, I got to say, I am impressed with it. And they have Deimos. It's like a dungeon crawler where you actually move your token, not even a token, your miniature, and you roll this polyhedral die. And I only played the demo the night before last, and I was impressed. I wasn't like bowled over, but I was impressed with the potential. And I haven't played it with a group yet. I'd like to do that. But on top of that, I'd like to see them put out like a program where you can go on your PC, you can go on your Mac, and as a DM, lay out the adventure and then upload it to your Oculus. That, to me, would make it a must-buy and make the Oculus a must-own. But it's intriguing. I see potential for that, but I'm having fun with Elven Assassins. I got to be honest with you. I enjoy killing shit. So,
well, I made my first really big purchase in a while, and that's because my grandson keeps attempting to drag his grandpa into the 21st century. But I got this yesterday, so this is my concession: the fact that I cannot see anything anymore on a tablet or phone. So I have a giant iPad now, and I made it big letters. There's giant letters that I can see. So I'm excited about that. I've been fiddling with that all day. I'm thinking, why did I wait so long to get this? Because I've been sitting there trying to stare at my phone for the past, 2 or 3 years. I should just got an iPad years ago.
I get Rich an iPad Pro with the touch keyboard, the one that has the touchpad. She doesn't even use her desktop anymore. Even when she has to do like data entry for work. It's all on her iPad. She's like, this is awesome. And Rach has low vision. She's like legally blind. So she can, does she have a 27-inch computer screen? Yes. She'd rather use her 13-inch iPad because she can zoom in on whatever she needs to look at and then zoom out and move on to the next part. So yeah, technology it's huge. It really it's amazing. Words come, man.
I wanted to throw something in here. This is totally unplanned, and I know Ben's not ready for this. Anybody's ready for this. I just wanted to congratulate your son who became an Eagle Scout.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's tough, man. And
oh yeah.
And you've been doing scouting for quite a few years, and I just was impressed. I mean, anybody that becomes an Eagle Scout that's an amazing accomplishment. I have a couple of friends that have done it, and it's a lot of work. And I was a Boy Scout, and I'll tell you right now, I noped right out of Eagle Scout. I'm like, nope, that's gonna interfere with my partying on the weekends and my
ain't happening.
Well, yeah, nope. I have too much partying to do when I was in high school. Couldn't do that. So, but congratulations, Dan.
We've been doing it 11 years now. It did take him 10. Luckily. He doesn't have an age limit. If some of your listeners are going, how the hell did he do it for 10 years? So he's got Down syndrome, for those who don't know that. But he made Eagle, and we gave it to him in February, and it was a fantastic ceremony. And he got up and did his speech, and he was so proud. And we're extremely proud of him. But he's actually gone like viral.
Wow, that's great.
The Boy Scouts of America, National Eagle Society put him up on their Twitter feed, and it went to Brazil and all this other stuff. And he had like 10,000 likes. So it was pretty crazy, yeah. And actually, the somebody else did an article recently about him, the pro-life, because a lot of kids with Down syndrome get aborted and all that. I don't want to get political, but they're like, for people who don't think kids with Down syndrome can do anything, look at this. And we did Order the Arrow also. As a matter of fact, last Saturday we did our Brotherhood walk for Order the Arrow. So those guys who knows what that is out there. So Tim is tearing it up. He's got like 44 merit badges. 4 palms. I
want to say I had 3. I had archery, swimming, and I think first aid. That was it. I was out of that too. I was like out after that. I was like,
I tapped out at Weeblo. That's as far as I made it.
Weeblo.
As far as I made it, it's like, wait a second, I gotta do real shit after this. It isn't just like boxcar racing.
And I almost drowned. I almost drowned her in the swimming merit patch too. By the way, I passed that one, but they were about to throw in the life preserver. I was like, I can make it. So yes, your son is amazing. He's an inspiration, man. That is absolutely freaking amazing.
He keeps me going. So.
God bless.
Yeah. I didn't make Eagle when I was a kid. I only went so far, and we moved, and I couldn't find a good troop, and out. So, yeah.
Yeah, that matters a lot too. Is the troop, because that was one of my reasons I kind of blew it off in high school, because my troop it was through a nearby church, and it was I don't know, it's hard to explain. I didn't belong to that church. It wasn't that I felt like I was an outsider, but these weren't people I went to school with or really friends. I only saw them on the weekends when we did scout stuff. So I didn't really feel a big connection. And when I got into high school and I realized that, I can party and do other fun things with people I actually know, my friends. Now, if my friends had been the scouts, I probably would have stayed in the scouts, because I grew up with one group from second grade on. We were in the scouts all the way through, I think, junior high. And then I went to this other group. And so that was a big part of it, is your group. I mean, if you're able to keep your group together and keep it going, that's a great mechanism for keeping you in the game.
Yeah, because we moved, and I didn't know anybody in the new troop, and it didn't take long. And then I hit high school, and it was all over. I got a car, and the perfume and gasoline. Once they smell those, it's all over.
Like, Eagle Scout, that's too hard, man. That's way too much work. I can go party in the week. And that, by the way, I was in high school. The drinking age in Texas was 17. So I was, we were completely out of. Yeah, I was out of the scouts by then. At that point, it's like, I don't need to do that. I got other things to do on the weekend.
Yep.
Congratulations to your son.
Thanks.
That's absolutely amazing.
Great job. That's not by him, but it's also for you. That's one hell of a parenting.
I want to say Ben puts in a lot of time. There's a lot of times we have game days at the warehouse or things like that, and Ben can't attend because he's doing scout stuff. I mean, I can't be there that weekend. We're on a camping trip. I mean, so he puts that first, man, which is the way it should be. I mean, his family comes first, and
family comes first. Then, matter of fact, this weekend we're going out on a train ride. So, last weekend,
tearing up a little bit. I'm sorry.
Oh, tear it up! Don't tear up. No, it's good stuff. We love it.
I get so emotional that I'm old. I think my estrogen's too high. I need some more testosterone. I don't know.
I'm not going to
taking your wife.
I can touch that one. Come on. I can touch that
Don't
one.
take your wife's pills, there, Mike.
You're getting me scared. Oh, Pex dropped in.
Pexy, sexy Pexy.
Hey, Pex.
Yeah, he does know us. Oh, he didn't hear this bad stuff I said about Zach, which is good because he's the kind of little guy who would run right to Zach and tell him everything I said. So
yeah, probably. We love John. John's great.
Yeah,
I only say good things.
And John's coming to North Texas this year, which is going to be
awesome.
Yes,
he is.
And I think John and I, if things hold out the way I want them to, we may be roommates at ReaperCon again this year. Because we're going to Frog Guy's going to go to ReaperCon, and I want you to know, Pex, I put myself on the line for you, and I said that Pex needs to go. And they said, well, nobody would room with Pex. And I'm like, I'll room with Pex, but I get the bedroom. You have to sleep on the sofa like usual. But yeah, because Pex
he's young.
He snores like a train coming through the
station.
Share
a bed.
No, you cannot share a room with this man. The walls shake. He snores so loud. So nobody.
Wait. Time out. And not that I'm going to defend Pex. I haven't slept in a room with Pex, but I've slept in a room with you, and you snore like.
He makes me sound like a little baby murmurer.
I had to buy earplugs after that first night.
I am telling you, the earplugs wouldn't work with Pex. You could no. He snores loud. The only person who snores louder than Pex? Gary Oliver snores louder than Pex. Gary Oliver's, for those who know, one of our buds and a friend of Dave.
He doesn't snore that loud at all.
He snores horribly. He's horrible.
I just roomed with him down at Long Con. I had no problem with Gary.
Your ears don't work. That's right. By the way, y'all did go to Long Con. You and Gary, Doug was there. I don't think
great convention.
Make it there or not?
What?
Yeah, it is a good convention. The guys in East Texas do a great job.
Matt and Eddie.
Fantastic. Eddie, and they're gonna be in North Texas. They're actually special guests in North Texas. It's called quid pro quo for those who don't know how that works. Because Doug's a special guest at their convention. That's how this all works, Bugs. You know how it works.
They only run a convention so that they can get into yours for free. I know that.
Yeah, it's a scam. The whole convention is a scam. If you ever wonder why the same people are special guests at every convention,
it's all a scam.
It's all
there
a
you
scam.
go.
Yeah.
You have to write a book and get an award before they make you one.
So yeah, come by and say hi to Pex. He does a lot of great work at Frog God, and despite what everybody says, Pex, I still like you there, and I want to keep you. I'm the one guy sitting there saying, "Don't fire Pex every Friday." So I mean, that's just me, because I just believe he does a good job. And
just fire him on one Friday, not every Friday.
No, just the Fridays I remember. Some Fridays I don't remember to say anything about him. So those are probably the ones where he almost gets fired. I don't know, but no, Pex does a great job. He'll be at the con. That's going to be. We'll have Matt Finch at the con. We'll have Zach at the con. So we'll Frog God will be very well represented there. Jen will be there. Obviously, Jen Glazer. I'm pretty sure Susie's coming. Susie Mosby. So we will have a pretty good selection of Frog God game people there. It's not going to be the Frog God-orama that it usually is, and a lot of that's because of COVID. COVID's changed the way we're doing conventions. It's changed the way that we're doing, guesting at conventions. And we're not the only company. A lot of companies have had to, I mean, Ben, you're lucky because you're kind of a one-man show. I mean, you do everything. And
that's luck. Just poured out everywhere. I love that.
You always manage to find some minion, related or not, that actually helps you set up and comes to your con help you.
Well, a lot of times, like at Long Con, it was just me, but I am going to have somebody helping me out at North Texas, and so the pretty blonde that y'all saw a couple of years ago.
You always have a lovely lady. I don't know what you're doing right. You always have a very lovely lady, whether it be a relative or not that helps you out. So
yeah, unfortunately, my daughter-in-law moved to Japan, so I can't.
Oh, she
I
was
can't
real
bump
sweet.
her
Yeah.
anyway. Oh, I love
met her a
I
couple
love
years
her.
ago. She's real sweet.
But Lauren, who was there a few years back,
Lauren's
she's gonna come
thumbs
to.
up. Lauren's great.
Yeah, she's married now, though.
She's married now. So that's a little bit. Yeah, it takes a little bit off there, but but still, she's a
great person.
Sweetheart. She's an absolute sweetheart too. So yeah. So that'll be good. Yeah, I have my grandson helping me get this year, and so for those who haven't seen him in 2 years, to him at the con, it's absolutely gonna blow your mind because he is. You would know he's not the little guy running around the convention anymore. He's
right.
as tall as his papa, and he's whip thin and looks like he's got this little mustache going, like you do in high school. Yeah. He looks like a dude, man. He's awesome. He's awesome, dude. You got my back, Mike. Yeah, just keep believing that. I mean, yeah, that's true. I do have your back.
You rub his back, don't you?
No, I don't touch. No, Pex and I do not touch. We don't use the bathroom at the same time. None of that stuff.
no crossing the streams. No. Oh, Jesus. No. Ghostbusters reference in a really bad way.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was absolutely terrible.
Yes, and juvenile. But
just a little pimp here. So
aren't we all just 12-year-old boys?
Yeah, I think so.
As we continue our guests in North Texas.
Oh, okay. One last call out.
We have Alex Kamer next week. And I am super excited to have Alex on the show because he's just one of those guys that Eric and I didn't think we were going to ever be able to get.
Yep, I was hinting at it, but I wasn't going to name him until the show because
Alex Kamer will be here next week, and then we have a special surprise guest for the last week of the month that we're crossing our fingers about. We're not going to announce him yet, but we're hoping everything works out. So Ben, tell us once again about Corsairs of Cthulhu as we head on out here.
Well, it's going to be a big book that's covering. It's a source book for running pirates, whether you want to run the campaign or not, but it'll give you everything you need to run Call of Cthulhu as pirates, whether you want to run your own ship or, be freelancers or whatever. And then there's also going to be the campaign, which is going to be a good chunk of the book. That's going to be fantastic. I think everybody's going to really love it. So it's the best Kickstarter I've ever had. So thank you all my backers out there who are listening, if you're there. And I hope you'll really. I think everybody's really going to enjoy it.
It's already funded. And this man here has 100% track record of his stuff coming out. So no worry, no Ken Whitman's here. This will definitely.
Oh yeah. Out. So I've run, almost 24 Kickstarters now, and I haven't had any. I've had 2 be 1 month late, and that's it. Everything else has been on time or early. And so I have a great track record, and a lot of people are like, oh, we hate them being late. Well, I don't let my stuff be late. It gets out the door. So I'm very disciplined about that. And so, but yeah, this is the best we've ever done. We're very happy with it for a Cthulhu book. Of course, D&D stuff can do better if you hit the right markets, but for Cthulhu, this is a pretty good size chunk. So, and we still have another 8 days left, so plenty of time for people to jump in. So,
very nice, man. I have been looking at it, and I don't budget myself. I just spend gratuitously on the Kickstarters, as my super backer numbers will prove. So I think before I go to sleep tonight, this will be added to my backlist. But I think I want the 3D map piece sent to me because I'm not getting a 3D printer in this lifetime.
I don't think you can afford them now. I think it's one of those other things that, like cars and computers or whatever. I don't think they have the computer chips for those anymore. I did not know about this until my wife bought a new car, and she was told the next new cars are going to be in 2 months, and then the one she wanted, the Kia Sorento, they had a two-year long wait because apparently computer chips are at a premium. So anything, phones, computers, cars, anything that runs on a computer chip is late and way behind because of this. So
interesting.
Probably not going to be doing any 3D printers anytime soon, I would think.
Yeah,
Wow.
that sucks. Boats are also way behind. They were talking about it on the news the other day
Probably
that if
because
you want a new boat, you got to wait at least 6 months.
I bet it's got a computer chip in there. Anything with a computer chip, man,
Mhm.
it's all bad.
Interesting.
It's all bad for computer chips. Oh, and
Yeah.
Eric, there was something that you wanted to. Oh God, now I feel like an idiot because I interrupted myself and I forgot what I was going to say. It was something that I knew that Eric wanted to talk about that I guess we're just going to have to leave
Wait
to the
until
imagination because
right. We'll leave it until. No, I
now I
don't.
can't remember.
You know,
I about the computer chips for cars.
I don't. No, listen. Oh, I did announce that Swords and Wizardry Continual Light second
that was it.
printing.
Yeah, okay, there you go. That was it. Yeah.
Oh, I did, but we didn't. Yeah, but yeah, second printing should be coming out. I'm gonna guess late August or September. The team is being assembled. Actually, as we were doing the live stream, I had somebody tell me that I have maps in my email. So it's going to be digest size. The rules are not going to change, but there should be additional content.
And the great thing about digest size, it can fit in the Swords and Wizardry
It'll
box.
fit in the book. New covers being commissioned by from James Shields, who's also going to do a new logo. And Jane Spawn's going to be doing a micro setting and an adventure. So think kind of like B2, but smaller and written by a Spawn. And we'll take feedback. If you guys want magic items put in there, we could do some of that stuff, but we'll see. But we're not changing the rules. If you already have the first printing, it's going to be some additional content, but the rules themselves aren't changing. You're fine with what you have. So
that sounds great. Maybe we'll see Torchlight one of these days. You never know.
Torchlight issue 1 is actually in the hands of the editor. Oh no, that's actually. However, my editor works for companies like I don't know, Trollord and Frog God and others. So I believe that this week it'll actually be looked at. It's laid out. It's actually laid out. What we have to do is tweak after the editing happens. So I was talking with my layout artist Jeff Jones. I said, listen, before we start working on Torchlight 2, I've had numerous requests to get Swords and Wizardry Continual Light out in digest form. And and then Jane Spawn was like badgering me about it in a good way. And I told James, and I said, listen, I'm gonna make you put your money in where your mouth is. If you want this is what I want from you. And he was like, all right, yeah, sure. I went, what, you're gonna give me a micro setting and an adventure? He goes, yeah. I'm like, fuck, I guess we're doing this. So I just made reached out to a few people, and we are getting our team assembled. So I am thrilled, and I think the great thing about it is I can't be the part that fucks this up, and nobody else on the team will fuck it up. My part's already done. I've already written my material, so my part's done, and my rest of my team is much more professional than I am. So I feel we're in very good hands. So, but listen, I did the layout on the first printing, and the best compliment I heard, I heard it was serviceable and adequate.
Serviceable and adequate. That's what I always want to hear. Your book was serviceable.
Your layout was adequate. It's like, all right, well, you know what? It's adequate. All right. I am not a layout artist. That is for sure. So at least it wasn't your layout was shit. I could have gotten that. I mean, honestly. So, and actually, James Shields, he's going to start the cover again. I'm commissioning a brand new cover. It's not going to be licensed stock art like James's first cover was, which was awesome. But no, it's going to be a brand new full color cover. And the internal art's going to be art that we haven't used before, whether it's going to be black and white or color. I'm still talking with my corroborators on this and getting feedback from the community. I like both, so I don't know which way I want to go. But, we'll see.
So, folks, we did a week, and we didn't even mention Whitman, and we actually had Whitman news. We're going to have to save it for next week.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even cover it because that sets Eric off for a good 30 minutes. Usually,
oh, yeah. So. No, we can't do that.
That's a whole new segue there.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we'll come back to the. We'll come back to that one. We'll spin around next week.
He has so ruined Kickstarter for so many
people. My God! But don't worry, your pencil dice are going to be in the mail. Oh no! Deck cards are coming out in July.
Oh yeah, I bet. Oh yeah.
He updated. He updated.
You sent in your resume for a part in this movie there?
You know what?
Oh God!
There wasn't a part for personal jackass.
We're not union, so we're perfect.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're not union. And we're probably not. Now we're not willing to work for $100 a day, though. But we're probably right. Yeah, that's probably
$100 a day plus accommodations. So,
you'd be lucky if you got that. I guarantee you.
We will talk. I promise we will. After we get talking to professional Alex Cameron, the most professional man in gaming, we'll try to segue into Whitman talk.
And if Alex decides that he needs to tap out before we go there, we understand.
We'll probably let him because it can get ranty. We can get Eric very ranty.
Oh
God. Oh.
But Alex is he's coming to North Texas, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's a special guest.
Yeah.
He will definitely be there, so we're excited about seeing him.
Yeah.
He just had a birthday today, by the way. So yeah, he's he's the kind of guy that he really makes you look at him, you're like going, because he's ripped and he runs marathons and he eats only vegetables.
I know.
Yeah. So, he makes everybody, he makes us all just feel like we're just like absolute garbage, So, he's nice about it. He's nice about making.
But we are absolute garbage. So I mean, that's not like it's a stretch of anything. Come on.
I actually got to spend quite a bit of time with him at the last year in North Texas, and we sat and had a few beers and drinks. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm been burnt. He goes, I know who you are. I'm like, you're kidding me. You have no idea who I am. But he
runs cable. He knows who I am. Perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, always good stuff. So.
Definitely. Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us. As you can tell, it's an excellent episode. I'm getting tongue-tied.
So
much excellent episode. Yes.
So much more professional than our loser last week, Jason Brown.
Yeah. I mean,
so much more professional.
We're over 2 hours, and it's like we could keep on going.
I could go longer, but I think the wife is going, it's time to get off.
Yes. I think my niece in the background, I'm sure, it's like, Uncle, you picked me up. Why aren't we doing anything? Folks, thank you for watching. I want to thank everybody in the live audience that participated. Excellent. If you're watching this, please subscribe, like, comment. It all helps the algorithm. We're doing great, by the way. Picking up subscribers and views.
That was the other thing I wanted to bring up. We're moving in on that $500 to be donated to the community. We're getting
yes. We hit 500 subscribers. I give away $500 in drive-through RPG monies. So sweet. We're at 452 last I checked. So we're getting close, folks. We're getting close. None of us are medical professionals, so all I'm going to ask is use your common sense when it comes to the world of COVID. Hopefully we're going to see light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting there, right? I'm immunized. I can go out without a mask. And I'll tell you the truth, it's getting to the point where I probably say, fuck you, I'm going out without a mask. So I'm glad I can do it without having to say F you. Be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice. And knock on wood, I will be back again tomorrow with another episode. All right, folks.
Thanks a lot.
All right, later.